I will do.
No, I will be famous in China.
I'm not famous. Hello, today I will have my deskmate to introduce her experience and her some suggestions about finding a job in Scandinavian countries. So, can you do a self-introduction?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Anna. I'm from Spain, but I've been living in Sweden 10 years now. I am finishing my PhD, and that's why I'm sharing my office with Claudia. But at the same time, I'm working as a scientist for a packaging company, an American company. So I'm working with substitution of plastics in packaging towards biopolymers and bioplastics.
That's so good. And how do you find that good job? What tool do you use?
So all the jobs I have found through my career in Sweden, which have been two, but also previously in Spain, although lately it's even more important to use LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah, that's quite famous in China as well. But will you update your career progress in LinkedIn and to operate your account quite frequently?
Yes, I think it's important that you keep your LinkedIn profile active, not only your experience and what are you actually doing now, because sometimes companies will contact you spontaneously. So it's important that you are active, that it's updated, that you have a good picture, that you also have updated your preferences. What is it that you would like to work? You don't need to say publicly that you are looking for a job if you have already have one, but you can have an option which says you are open for jobs, which is only visible for recruiters. So they will contact you anyway. So yeah, it's important that you are active and that you are updated.
Great. And some of my friends, they're always seeking for a internal recommendation with these within these companies. So how do you think of it? Do you think it's important?
Of course, any recommendation is important, but I don't think it's the most critical. I think it will be more critical when you are applying for a job actively, that you then have someone recommended you. Because in Sweden, and I think probably it's the same in Norway, Finland, or Denmark, but I talk for Sweden, the process goes like this. They will do the interviews to you, and when they are almost at the end, or maybe in the middle of the phase, they will ask you for 2 or 3 numbers of people to call.
Okay.
So those are the important recommendations that you really have to have set up before. People that work with you before, not necessarily have to be your former bosses, can be a colleague, maybe a manager that worked in the same group as you. Sometimes it's difficult to have, if you're working for a company, that your boss receives a call.
Yeah, that will be a surprise.
Exactly. So what you usually do is either a previous boss from a previous job, if that's not the case, because, for example, you are working in the university, you can, for example, tell a more senior person in the company to be your recommendation, someone that worked with you sometime.
For example, you.
For example, me could be, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And for finding a job, what's the most important quality you think we have to have?
I think it's important that you have confidence about your own capabilities, about what you have studied, what you have done. But I think it's very important also that you are humble. That means that you are willing to learn. Mostly because when we start to look for jobs, I'm not a junior anymore, but when I was a junior and I was looking for my first job in industry, it's important that, yes, I'm sure I have good education, I have good experience, I have worked as a PhD, but that you are willing to learn. And I think the most important of all is that you are curious about the work you are having the interview for. So you have prepared yourself, you have questions about that job, about that company, and you have read about what is it that they do, the technology, the chemistry they are using, if you are a chemistry student, but that you ask questions.
So that's the very good point. We usually get the last question that, do you have any questions to ask? So what will you say then?
What do you
So the interviewer will ask you
Yeah.
if you have any questions for
Yeah,
us.
you need to have questions.
Okay.
Either because you have prepared them before,
Mm.
because you have read their website, because you want to ask them about how they are organized, or more about your daily life. You can ask things like, so if I would get this job, how would my daily life look like? What I would have to do during the day? Or what is it that you find more challenging about this job? You can ask that.
That's a very good question.
So you need to have questions prepared.
That's great.
And a very important thing as well, especially for those like us that are not Swedish, you don't need to talk perfect Swedish when you start to look for jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think my first job, when I got it, I wasn't even talking fluent Swedish, but I had good English, that's important. And even more important, I was learning Swedish. So it shows that you have an interest for the Swedish culture and for the language. So shows that you want to learn, that you want to integrate yourself, and that you will be able to talk to your colleagues, for example.
Yes. That's so good. So thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
That's all. Hope you will find a job.
Good
See
luck.
you.